Hello and welcome to the HeartWorking Dad podcast. I am your host, Gabriel Perez, and this is the podcast for Christian fathers looking to do the hard work of HeartWork. And the goal is to provide a practical and spiritual foundation of leadership for your family, to become wholehearted men that can lead your family well. If this is the first time we met, I'm your host, Gabriel Perez. Been with my wife for 19 years. We have 3 kids. We both work full-time jobs and partner together in homeschooling our kids. And in addition to that, I'm a certified biblical parenting coach. All right, let's get into this episode. This episode is about just the decision we made as parents to not post our kids on social. My wife's Instagram is private, so she does post some stuff on her private page with, people that she knows. Mine is public. And I was posting content on them with them for a while, just family stuff, things that I do. And for a while we weren't really doing that though in the beginning. We didn't really want to put our kids on social, but as time got on, we kind of got lax. I did. And I was like, well, I don't think it's a big deal. Everyone else posts their kids. What's the big deal? But, my wife has always had this sensitivity to it. But she said, okay, well, fine, go ahead. So I did. And honestly, I felt pretty guilty as I came across this video where this lady talks about your kids not being content on social. So if you're just a family and you just post privately, obviously is no big deal. But if you're a content creator and you're posting your kids, it could be something to think about. This is one of those things where I can't judge you on either way, and I don't want to judge you. It's just something you're going to have to pray about and say, is this what I should or shouldn't be doing? Is this a big deal for our family? Is it not a big deal? And that's really what we had to come to, is my wife wasn't going to tell me like, you can't do it, but she felt she wasn't really comfortable with it. And as I was doing it, I came across this I don't know who it was, but she was like, your kids aren't content, just flat out. And she was doing a mock video of recording her kid. It wasn't really a kid, but just, she's pretending like, oh, how are you feeling? Let me console your feelings. And then do this. Are you sad? And she was just going through the process of how you see these videos of parents doing great parenting things, but filming their kids. And it kind of just dawned on me, like, yeah, you're putting these moments of your kids' lives that are, maybe they don't want to be seen like that. Maybe that's something that they're not, as they grow up, they're going to be like, man, I wish you didn't film me, or I wish you didn't post me on your socials like that. Because they don't, maybe they don't think about it and they don't really have a decision. So my wife and I really had to have this talk because I just felt convicted. And a part of me didn't want to do it because as I was starting to make content, the only content that people seemed to like was the stuff with my kids, because they're great kids. They're adorable. But at the same time, I was like, well, that's not really what's important. If I don't, my goal was actually to not have my kids on here at first, but I just felt like I didn't have a whole lot to say, but this is my life. So let me share that. This is what I do. But as I've come into this more, I said, you know what? I don't want to have my kids on here because it's dangerous. There's danger out there, and it's just the danger that you're comfortable with. Because maybe, something won't happen, maybe it won't. But then there's just people who, we've had friends who their child's picture was stolen and put it on some random website. And so it's something that you really have to pray about, because I can never tell someone like, you shouldn't post your kids on social. Like, I'm not going to start an Instagram that way, because it's one of those decisions you have to make as a family. And you have to say, is this fine with us? Is it not fine? And if you're fine with it, then that's your decision. That's fine. us as a family, we had to I didn't want my kids to feel like, oh, Dad, I didn't wish you didn't tell those stories of me. So sometimes when I'm talking about my kids, I don't want to tell them, all their personal stories. So I kind of keep it a little more vague. And then with my Instagram, I went and deleted all the stuff with my kids. And honestly, I felt a huge weight. And I felt that this was a good decision to make for my family. And as I talked to my kids, like, oh, you're not going to do a reel with us? Like, let's film a reel. I said, no, I just really didn't feel comfortable. And I don't want to make you guys content. I don't want to make you guys feel like you have to perform or that we're documenting everything that we do as content. Like, I just want to actually enjoy moments with you guys. And if we film it, it's just because we want to film it as a family. So that's what we decided as a family. And I thought I'd just share that here because if you're listening to this podcast, you're a father. So my challenge and encouragement to you is, the encouragement would be that I don't want this to be a condemnation thing. Look at it as, you got to pray and ask, is there a conviction? So my challenge and encouragement for you. Challenge would be to ask yourself, is this something that, ask yourself, is this something we should do as a family? If you're public, maybe consider going private and looking into the information that's out there about what can happen from sharing your kids' profile, your kids' pictures to the world, or just what you're sharing. Maybe it's stuff that it's showing things of their body, like if they're in the bath time, maybe you don't want to share things of them in the bath or running around naked or their butt. It's asking yourself these questions, these tough questions, and then going together with your spouse and saying, what do you feel on this? Let's align on this thing, because truth is we didn't align, and I pushed forward when I shouldn't have. Not probably, I shouldn't have. I should have really sought God with that one. So learn from my mistake. And encouragement is, if you are sharing, don't beat yourself up over it. Like I said, this is new ground. This is new things that we didn't think about. And so it's not to bring guilt on you or shame. Please hear me out when I say this. This whole episode is not to guilt you or shame you. It's to get you to ask the questions and have a talk with your spouse about this. And if there's conviction, then you can move forward. But no guilt, no shame, no condemnation. All right, so with that, we'll talk soon.